All right. Hello, everyone. This is My Two Cents, and welcome to the second October Patrons live stream. As I said before, last month there was no Patrons live stream, so I'm making up for it with a second one this time around. Right now, I'm only joined by one of my patrons, Night Shift 10,000, but a couple more might show up later. And if not, then he and I will just have a discussion. I will be keeping an eye on the chat here. And so if you do have anything you'd like us to talk about, let us know. Otherwise, Night Shift, go ahead and introduce yourself.
This is Night Shift 10,000 reporting for duty here on the USS ANCAP. What's up, everyone?
Hello, Patrick Rooney, Harry Alexander. I see they're already in the chat. And I see Mag is in the chat and said she's trying to get in and the link didn't work. Hang on, let me see if I can fix that.
You can do it, Mag. We all believe in you.
All right, Mag, I just resent it. Anyways, as all of you should, if you haven't yet, Night Shift and I did a collab taking on Ariana Grande, which has already gotten about 1,500 views collectively. The video you'll see right now only says 700 something, but I posted it. It got something like 600 views in the first 24 hours. I listened to it myself, didn't really like the audio, reposted it. So collectively, that's gotten about 1,500 views. It's a great video. Check it out if you haven't already. Litigious Society, hello. Other than that, Night Shift, anything you want to start the evening off with, discussion-wise?
Actually, I just wanted to mention how fun it was just taking the piss out of Jacqueline Skellington in that video. Yeah, that Ariana Grande thing was really fun.
Oh, yes, it certainly was. And actually, I wish we'd been able to make it part of the video. It wasn't until I started reading the comments that everybody started pointing out that Zach Sang had a pink pillow in his lap the entire time.
Yes. Oh my God. I thought the exact same thing. I never noticed that. And my God, that would have been fun to go after.
It would have been. I mean, there was so much stupidity to go after in that video, but then I was so mad both of us didn't notice that. But
I know. But other than that, I don't know. I mean, what are you thinking? Current events? Should we start going at the bombing thing?
Okay, yes, that is something that's worth talking about. For those of you who watch today's episode of 2 Day with 2 Cents, you'll know I addressed the so-called mega bomber that has all these explosive packages that were sent to the Clintons, George Soros, Cory Booker, Robert De Niro for some reason, CNN. And essentially what we have now is that the FBI has arrested this gentleman in Miami who is a registered Republican, apparently. He has a very long rap sheet, numerous arrests over the past 20 years or so. Oh, I see Pipsqueak has joined us. Pipsqueak, hello.
Hey, Pipsqueak. Hey, buddy.
Hello.
Hello, we got you. Thank you for joining from Australia. Anyways, picking up what I was saying. So he I guess several years ago, the Florida Power and Light Company threatened to shut off his power, and he threatened to bomb them, after which point he was arrested. And of course, the biggest piece of news is that when he was arrested, his van was found with a picture of Donald Trump, Mike Pence superimposed on it, and then a bumper sticker that said CNN sucks. So, of course, the liberal media was all, this is proof positive that Donald Trump's rhetoric has caused this guy to do something, caused him to do this. And I will say, as I said in my video, I don't know. This could be just the dumbest, craziest combination of a man ever. But what's interesting is that a former EOD technician has already pointed out that these bombs were designed to be basically Hollywood bombs. Whoever built them wanted everyone who looked at them immediately to realize, whoa, these are bombs, even though any expert bomb maker will tell you that's not how you make them. None of the devices were actually capable of going off. So clearly, whoever sent them didn't actually want the bombs to go off, which begs the question, if this guy really is a violent Trump supporter who did this because he thought Trump wanted him to attack all these liberal elites, why'd he pick phony Hollywood bombs that he knew wouldn't go off?
Exactly. And My call on this one is it is a false flag because there's just too much around it that, it stinks of a false flag. There's too much around it. The stamps on the envelopes were not canceled. The bombs were not built to actually even go off, much less to even really be bombs, to totally be honest. And it just does. Everything here stinks of a false flag. And that's honestly the stance that I'm going with at this point. I could be completely wrong. I know that, but it just smell. I to quote the old phrase, I smell a rat.
I can't say I disagree.
I saw a X-ray photo of one of the bombs. It was like, I can't remember where I found it. They mentioned how there were wires in both ends. It was it was an EOD technician talking about how this is just ridiculous. No one would ever build a bomb that way. And I had a picture of the X-ray, and there's no filling in it. There's nothing in there. There's no explosive.
Yeah, there you go.
And so, like I said, the most charitable, if we're going to go with this guy is just a crazy Trump supporter, he has to be, it begs the question, what was he hoping to accomplish? Okay. So he's sitting, he lives in his mother's basement. He listens to Donald Trump's rhetoric and is like, wow, Donald Trump wants me to go attack these leftists, or that's what he thinks. Yet he picks bombs that don't explode. I see Esoteric is in the chat. He mentioned that the timers on the front of the bomb were stickers. So
yeah.
at the very best, someone who sends fake bombs, the only thing they could hopefully be doing is sending a message of some sort, because obviously they weren't actually trying to kill anybody. But then the question becomes, if he really is a vigorous Trump supporter, what message was he hoping to send? He had to know that, I mean, even a crazy person would have to know with the current media that that sending fake bombs is just going to the media is going to spin it to, oh, look at the hate that Donald Trump is inspiring. So,
and one of the targets was George Soros, correct?
That is correct.
Yeah, that probably should say everything we need to hear about that. I mean, George Soros has proven to be the big leftist boogeyman, and I know that everyone doesn't believe, that he's capable of a lot of what people say he's capable of, but I've done my research on George Soros, and the man is freaky to say the least.
Well, is everyone aware of his history with the Nazis back in World War II?
Absolutely.
Yeah, and when it was, I don't remember how long ago it was. I think it was in the 90s when he was interviewed, but he was essentially asked, "Do you ever feel guilty about basically selling out fellow Jews in order to save your own skin?" And he said, "Not in the slightest. I didn't make the Nazis do what they did. I just manipulated it to my benefit, like I do every day in the market." And it's like someone willing to take that kind of stance about mass slaughter of his own people. Is there anything such a person wouldn't do?
You'd have to be one of the worst people in history to be able to do that. I mean, there you go.
Mm-hmm.
George Soros is a pretty bad guy.
Yeah, definitely. Quick, I see Nate, the volunteerist, is having trouble connecting. Hang on, Nate. I'm going to try one more thing. Also, the SO is saying he predicted the Pittsburgh shooting 3 days ago.
I also wanted to mention one more thing. You said in your video that Millie Weaver predicted false flag leftist activity.
Yes.
Let me guess. She's dead now under mysterious circumstances. She fell down an elevator shaft onto some bullets or something, didn't she?
I don't know. I think I saw a tweet from her earlier today. So okay. Not yet, but we'll see.
Yeah, no. I was just kind of wondering about that. Like, is she okay? Or, yeah.
All right. Anyways, the on the subject of the Pittsburgh shooting, from the research I've done so far, I looked at a number of articles to include everyone's favorite, the New York Times, which I'll talk about that quick. So anyways, this shooter is essentially an anti-Semite who had a Gab account. Now, the New York Times was very clear to point out that it was a Gab account that he had, because they've identified Gab as this ultra white nationalist platform. And they so he's posted all kinds of stuff about how Jewish groups are trying to bring the migrant. I guess he was posting constantly about how a particular Jewish group is supposedly funding bringing all this migrant caravan into the United States, and he had to do something about it. Obviously, I'm going to say I've hardly researched this at all. I've only been able to read a couple of articles, like I said, one of which is from the New York Times, so we know how reliable they are. But it sounds like this guy is your standard anti-Semite. But I find it interesting that like the New York Times uses it as a platform with which to attack Gab and claim this is all about Gab and Gab being a white nationalist platform.
Given how hard Twitter and Facebook and etc. have been coming down on people who display even a whiff of what the left likes to claim as Nazism, complaining that the alt-right is on Gab is like complaining that the wastewater from a desalination plant is salty.
Yeah, exactly.
Mm-hmm.
Well,
Really?
I mean, how long
is this problem?
Oh, hey.
Okay. Just quick on the chat, I see SO has said that they've changed the death count multiple times. Last I heard, it was 11, and I see Harry Alexander says it was 9 to 10. So, also,
it was 11 killed.
Hey
and
guys,
6
can you hear
wounded.
me?
Yeah. Hey, Nate. What's
Nate,
up?
you there?
Hey, what's up?
Not much. Welcome aboard. Glad that finally got you in here.
Yeah, sorry about that.
No, it's all good. You're here, bro. What's up?
Problem is I can't hear you guys as well on my phone. Trying to turn up the volume.
Okay. Well, do your best. We'll try to speak slowly and loudly. Make sure you can hear us.
I'm probably gonna have to listen through my ear because I can hear you guys better through there.
Okay.
Sounds good.
Oh, here we go. Can you guys hear me very well?
Yes.
Okay, I can hear you. I'm probably gonna have to use my phone like I'm talking on the phone, not just talking through like a kind of like a walkie-talkie. You know.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Okay, this is perfect. All right. Can everybody hear me in the chat?
Yes, I can hear you just fine.
Okay, perfect. All right. What are we talking about?
We were just so far we've talked about the so-called MAGA bomber. Then we just talked about we're starting to talk about the Pittsburgh shooting. And wait, Pipsqueak, did you just post Gab just went down?
Yeah.
Hang on a sec.
Wait, they shut Gab down?
You're right. Yeah, I just tried to go to Gab and it said this page is currently not working.
What?
All right, now, again, like I said, I've not had time to do in-depth research about this. SO obviously has done a little bit more, and he has reason to believe that I guess SO, I don't know if you were asserting that the whole thing was a false flag or not, but okay, SO says police report said Pittsburgh shooter had a beard and he doesn't have a beard. Okay, well, that's kind of a significant detail. But like I said, the first thing when I read the New York Times article, they hardly talk about the shooter, and then they go right to Gab, Gab, the white nationalist alt-right Jew-hating website, and then sure enough, as we're talking about this, Gab goes down. I wouldn't be surprised if this thing was orchestrated in an effort to try and take down alternative media outlets. Like I said, that's me speculating. I certainly couldn't prove it at this point, but there's no doubt that's what the New York Times was going for when they ran their story.
Literally a minute ago, it had like the general Cloudflare thing, because websites hosted on Cloudflare usually have, when they have errors and such, when they can't communicate with the actual server, it comes up with the actual dialogues like, here's what's wrong. I'm not getting that. I'm just getting general 500 now. And that shouldn't be happening. Every other website I've ever had problems with when they were hosted by Cloudflare always comes up with that Cloudflare, this is what the status of the website is.
Mm-hmm. Okay, this is getting freaky. I mean, they accuse these people and they accuse these things, and now it's like they're getting it done. I mean, what the heck? What's going on? I mean, they accuse Gab of being a white nationalist hangout. And now it's off. I mean, what the hell is going on?
One thing I want to jump in real quick. I haven't heard much details about the whole story. I just heard about it like earlier today, and honestly, I usually just wait until we get the full story, just kind of like what we did with the Las Vegas shootings, because there were several stuff being spouted out, and then we later figure out that they were all lies. So
that's true, and definitely, I don't want to be in the habit of jumping to conclusions, which is why I'm saying, this is speculation on my part.
Right.
The story that's been reported is that this guy had no previous criminal record, used an AR-15, went into this particular synagogue. Death toll has gone between 9 and 11. Like I said, more details could indeed come out. What is suspicious? It is suspicious, though, that like I said, when I was reading that New York Times article, the fact that almost immediately they go from talking about the story to talking about how evil Gab is. And then now Gab goes down.
Wow.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. But I mean, it shows just how scared the statist infrastructure is of alternative media. I mean, first they came for Alex Jones. They've constantly been saying that Gab mines all these alternative platforms. They go to the stock leftist answer. If they disagree with us, they're Nazis, and Nazis have no place in this discussion. So kick them off.
I mean, the scary thing is, Free Thought Project, Anti-Media, and many Facebook pages that are holding police accountable. Like Police the Police. They're all gone. They've all been taken down. I mean, I don't know if some of them are back up yet or not. I mean, Carrie Wedler, who I've been following for years already, she just got back up. Luckily, she still had her YouTube channel, but this purge should really get people to go, okay, this is really going too far. This is really going too far.
Mm-hmm. Well, what's next? Are they going to start making people disappear? I mean, where does this go?
I mean, that's the whole problem. I mean, many people on the left don't seem to realize that they could be next. I mean, they're not taking that into account. I mean, while they're sitting there and laughing at the conservatives, the libertarians, the ANCAPs, or the anti-SJW liberals, they're all getting purged. They're sitting there thinking that it's not going to happen to them, but they don't seem to realize they're probably going to get purged eventually.
Yeah, so long as they're no longer useful to the state's agenda.
Right. Exactly.
I'm just going to quick respond to the FDASDA says the media isn't private yet. I mean, even CNN is private sector. Technically, that's true. However, to say CNN is a wholly private company is not accurate in the slightest. I mean, the government has already been Operation Mockingbird, where the CIA basically admitted that they employ people within major media outlets to control media narratives or put out information that's favorable to the U.S. government.
I remember reading a document about that.
Yes. Not to mention tax credits and subsidies that are given to those media outlets that play. I mean, the major media outlets, CNN, MSNBC, Fox News, these are the kinds of outlets that, they portray, Fox is seen as conservative and CNN and MSNBC as a little more left-leaning. But if you look at parent companies, at the end of the day, they're all owned by the same people.
The Zionists.
Yeah. Well, the Zionists, that's a whole nother story. But
well, there's a lot of Zionists in power in the media and Hollywood and Congress, of course, especially in the churches. It's really scary.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, you got to be very, very careful on what you're allowing, what you're feeding yourself, because you might get misled and there could be dire consequences down the road. So just want to throw it out there.
Hey guys, I want to read something, and I think it actually is very prevalent to what we're talking about with the whole leftist purge and everything.
I will let you just quick. Hello, Mag Americap.
Oh,
Hey.
Hello.
What up?
oh
Thanks for
my God.
joining.
Not much.
Hey, you made it.
Yay. Can you guys hear
Yeah,
me?
and I'm here. Yeah, I can hear you perfectly.
Okay, good.
Just quickly, Americap, happy birthday.
Absolutely, bro. Happy
Sorry,
birthday.
Oh, thank you.
Oh, happy birthday.
Oh, thanks. Sorry, I haven't opened my computer for a while. I just got like 50 frications. God damn it, another one.
Finally in your 20s.
Yeah, the things finished up with the, family and whatnot, so I decided I may as well hop on.
Okay, so there was something I wanted to read very quickly. Then we can continue. I find it to be very prevalent with the leftist purge of all of these different Facebook sites, all these different things, and how this could actually turn into a purge of individuals. And it is by Martin Mueller. I don't know if anyone's heard of it. Hello, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
We can hear you.
Yeah.
And it says, first they came for the socialists, and I did not speak out because I was not a socialist. Then they came for the trade unionists, and I did not speak out because I was not a trade unionist. Then they came for the Jews, and I did not speak because I was not a Jew. Then they came for me, and there was no one left to speak for me. And that was the whole poem that was written during Hitler's rise in Nazi Germany. And it could very well be the same for any one of us. I mean, first they came for the right-wingers, and I was not a right-winger, so I did not speak out. Then they came for the libertarians, and I was not a libertarian, so I did not speak out. Then they came for the ANCAP. Yeah, you see where they're going. You see where that's going.
Yes, I've actually been to the Holocaust Museum, and they have that carved into the wall at the big memorial there at the entrance.
So it's just, to the leftists who want to see this kind of authority. Yeah, to the leftists who want to see this kind of thing happen, they're going to come for you too, and there's not going to be anyone left to speak out for you when they come.
Yeah.
Scary.
That's
stick together.
Yeah. I know that's why I've been saying whatever you feel about Alex Jones. I know a lot of people love him, a lot of people hate him, but he was the first.
Well, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I said, but he was definitely the trial run, essentially the first person to get kicked off every platform at once.
Yeah, and one thing to point out is that after he got kicked off, InfoWars became like the #1 downloaded app.
Yeah, and although the people on the left are trying to claim he's getting less views per day, and while that's technically true, and I mean it makes sense because he has fewer platforms, he's also getting way more traffic to the Infowars.com.
Yeah, and of course he is on BitChute.
Yeah, which what's funny for for those of you who haven't seen it yet, I put an article on my blog that was responding to Black Pigeon Speaks with regards to whether or not government needs to be used to basically respond to censorship. And I think I think one of the problems here that a lot of people on the political right, particularly conservatives, are falling for is the idea that because right-wing figures are being censored on YouTube, on Twitter, what have you, the government needs to step in and fix this to save free speech on the internet. The problem is that is exactly what the left wants to happen. They want both people on the left and the right to cry in unison. We want the government to save us from the internet. The government will say, sure, just you've got to give us complete and total control over what goes on the internet. And everyone says, oh yeah, great, just as long as we protect free speech. And they say, sure, we will, but yeah, we all know how well that works.
I mean, technically, at this point, I wouldn't. I'm sorry? What happened?
I was just going to say two things. One, playing right into their hands. And the second one, the left always say, my free speech, I have to protect my free speech. You cannot stop me. And yet you want the state to stop you, basically.
Well, and that's kind of the irony of it, is that that's basically kind of the irony of it is leftists seem to love free speech. They seem to adore free speech until somebody else that they disagree with starts talking. So, I mean, what the
Yeah.
hell?
It's free speech. I mean, it's free speech for them unless you think like them. That's basically what it is.
Yeah.
I mean, it's literally lip service on their part. So,
Well, there's a
I
there's
mean,
a saying,
I was just gonna say earlier. I'm sorry.
Oh, I was gonna say, free speech has always been most people have the mentality of free speech for me, but not for thee. It's a common phrase, especially in communications.
All right,
Yep.
I'm going to say quick. Esso has a good point here in the comments. The state perpetuates the two-party left-right dichotomy for the purpose of trying to crack down on people who are disenfranchised. And I would say that's absolutely true, given the fact that these kind of actions are putting people on the right and the left crying out for the government to regulate the internet more, for different reasons. But the point is they're both calling for more internet regulation, which is, at the end of the day, exactly what the authoritarians want. And it doesn't really matter whether you're a Republican, whether you're a Democrat, you're both pushing for the government to take more control of the internet, which will give them what they want in the long run.
Kind of, speaking of with the governments and
A
whatnot.
little connection problem on my
No,
phone.
that's right.
Is everybody?
Be old enough for that.
Yeah, we can hear
you.
Well, I'm here. I don't know. It's I'm listening, and things are kind of jumping around and stuff. It's kind of like making you sound like you're in a kind of like a replay or something, and you're playing it slowly and stuff. That's what I'm hearing.
Okay, well,
So,
I can
don't
hear you
know.
fine. So
You're all using auto-tune on my end.
Yeah, I don't know. Probably just me. I don't know. Is anybody having the same problem?
No.
Yeah, kind of.
Huh.
But I have slow mountain Wi-Fi.
okay.
Well, just remember, I'm on an Android, so
I'm on an Android that's 3 years old, so.
I mean, mine is a couple of years old. I mean, I got a good deal out of it. It should work just fine.
Oh,
don't
yeah. And something I kind of want to bring up now that we're talking about with the state and whatnot. The voting's coming up soon, right? November 6th?
November 6th is the election, yes.
Yeah,
Boy,
my
do I
dad.
look forward to
I
that.
don't vote in
My
that,
my dad handed me my ballot. I forgot I'm still a registered voter. I don't know how to break it to him that I'm not voting this year.
Okay.
I mean, I'll be honest with you guys. I barely vote for stuff. I mean, my ballots are mostly blank for them, basically. I barely vote for anybody for office, so it's like, forget it.
What's so sad was when I was younger, I always wanted to vote because I never got the opportunity to. Now that, well, I won't this year, but now that I'm actually going to be able to next year, I don't want to. I find it really sad.
Yeah, you're not alone in that. I'm not voting
guys-
either this year. I'm not voting
Well,
at all.
yeah.
Have you guys
18.
have you guys seen Eric? I'm sorry.
Hmm?
Oh, okay. Have you guys seen Eric July's video on why he doesn't vote?
I have not.
Haven't
Oh,
seen
you
that one
guys should
yet.
check it out. He's basically saying I'd rather just influence the culture, and I got this career, and I'd rather do that instead of wasting time voting. I think
Yeah.
I totally am with him on that.
Okay. I guess here my view on voting is this. As I actually put in my article I put out this Monday was called Why Government Elections Are a Farce. I don't believe voting can really change anything in the long run, because if you look throughout history, it doesn't matter whether Republicans or Democrats are in office. Consistently, the government spends more, expands its scope of authority. And of course, that being the case, because people act in their own interests, and you give them the power to regulate things and do things their way, inevitably they're going to expand they're going to regulate more and expand their sphere of influence. Now, that being said, I don't think it's necessarily inappropriate for an ANCAP to vote, because in the short term, voting can be an act of self-defense, in particular local elections. For example, if in my particular city, there's a ballot being held to whether or not taxes should be increased to build some new sporting stadium or something, in that case, yes, I'm going to vote against that, because especially on a small scale like that, my vote can count against can help to not be what.
Well, here's how I've always viewed it. Every time, like even when the Republicans get in, like let's even assume like the best case scenario happens and we get some real, libertarian superhuman, as president one election cycle. It's not going to happen, but let's say we do. Social Security is not going to disappear overnight. The modern welfare state is not going to just become automatically defunded. It might have its budget severely slashed. It might, become less influential. We might have less problems from it, but overall, it's not going to disappear overnight. All the problems that are still it's just basically going to be less worse than it usually is for like 4 years maybe. And then the moment we get another, demitard in office, or, some even probably a Republican, everything will get worse. Like even with Trump, everyone, I think, tricked themselves into believing for a second that, if we just get Trump in office, everything that bothers us about the world today is just going to immediately get better. We'll stop having our guns taken away. We'll stop having our money taken away. So, we'll stop having, all these problems. We'll stop, having all these illegals coming up. And then what really happened was he got into office and things kind of changed. Not really though. And then he tried to take our guns.
Oh man,
Trump
my connection sucks.
The thing Trump has changed the most is cultural perception of America, not any functional things about America.
Yeah, but I don't care how people perceive America at this point. I just don't want my stuff taken.
Exactly. So when you said less worse, that's the point I was making. Voting cannot be the engine by which we're going to shrink the state. The state inevitably grows. It could be voting in particular situations could slow it down per se. And so for that reason, I wouldn't say it's never appropriate to vote. It could be a legitimate act of self-defense. But since the state is in fact violating your rights, but it can't be seen as the means by which things are going to change. Now, quick, I do want to address SOS that he put quite a bit of time into typing up his comments here, so I am going to address that. SO says, the state perpetuates the two-party left-right dichotomy for the purpose of trying to crack down on people who are disenfranchised. But more importantly, this is done to destroy language, destroying philosophical concepts, and replacing them with more simplistic and reductionist terms, while simultaneously have increasingly vague definitions, with the end goal to literally render people incapable of discussing ideas, because every political concept in mainstream discourse effectively has a different interpretation to each person. I would say that absolutely makes sense, especially when you look at how much time CNN and the other major media outlets put into word policing. You can't use the word mob. I know mob comes to mind immediately just because of that ridiculous segment recently. But yeah, definitely.
Something I just kind of feel like I just wanted to add. Sorry, this is going back to how I usually talk. I feel like one of the reasons why voting was even a thing was just because two sides have two opposite things, and people, whichever one got the majority to win, which is mob rule, got to be one to the side. The reason why people do voting is because we have opposite sides, and we need to make a decision so things actually happen, and we want the majority of people to win, which is mob ruling. The problem is the fact that instead of doing voting and having someone else do something, you can do it yourself and save even more time. And if the opposite side doesn't like it, they can do their own thing.
And also, on
I'm
esoteric. Well, no, I just wanted
to
say
jump in.
No, yeah. Okay, go. No, go ahead. Go ahead.
Guys, I just want to jump in real quick. I'm having connection problems. I'm just hearing you guys jump. It's the audio sucks. I mean, I'm hearing you guys just jumping all over the place through the audio. It sucks. Literally,
okay.
The connection just sucks.
All right. Sorry to hear that, but if you would rather cut out, I understand, and we'll hopefully it'll work out better next time.
I'm thinking about doing is, I was thinking about borrowing a laptop from someone. I can try using my mic, see if it'll work, so that way I can jump right back in with you guys.
Okay.
If that's okay.
If you can, sounds great.
Bye.
Okay. All right. I'll see you guys later if I'm able to.
All right. Awesome.
All right.
Thanks for being here.
And yeah, to Esoteric Entity, I just want to say, drop the mic. That was an awesome comment that you made. That was epic.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Well, like as I see it, the state has always been. It's basically like it's kind of like those. It's like a Saw movie, basically. Like you are the one. Like the populace are the contestants of this sick little game the state likes to play, and if you don't play by their rules, you're just going to get killed. So, the only way to improve your situation is to play their sick little games. Well, unless, of course, you decide to, break the game and not play. And in which case, yeah, you might lose. But, and what I mean by, breaking away from the game and just deciding not to play it is invest in, the counter economy. Join that, or better yet, get out. Like really, like if you just don't want to play the state's games anymore, and trust me, I don't want to play the state's games anymore. The best way to do it is not to keep playing the game. The best way to do it is to try and find a way to stop playing the game, to make it to where you don't have to play it anymore.
Exactly.
One thing I kind of want to add is I love how like voting kind of gives like people under the mentality of the fact that, oh, I'm gonna have some freedom and I can I'm gonna get a voice and I can actually have a little bit of freedom. In reality, you're actually renouncing your freedom and having someone else do something that you can do.
Well, it's not so much.
Exactly. You think you're free. In reality, no, you're gonna get taken away.
What was that?
I think it's much that's like, yeah, you have a voice. The politicians have a megaphone. Good luck with that.
Well, here's the thing. I just wanted to mention one thing, and it's actually on that collab that Mag and Americap did about anarchy and how they talked about the agorist revolution. Technically, that is our revolution. That is the ANCAP revolution. And the thing about it is it started immediately. It started like the clock started ticking immediately when they invented cryptocurrencies. At that point, it was an automatic revolution started on the ANCAP agorist front. And ultimately, it is a war, or it is a revolution that we will win, because it's kind of inevitable. It's actually kind of inevitable, and it will inevitably lead to not just the downfall of our government, but probably all governments around the world. Because, I mean, when given the allure of no taxes, a currency that you control, an economy that you control over taxation, regulation, government-controlled economics, government control on everything, I mean, which one do you think is going to win out overall?
Well, I think the key to achieving that is basically educating people on what Bitcoin is and showing them ways in which they can use it in their everyday lives. Like, for instance, in my case, because like I do own now some cryptocurrency. How much is none of your goddamn business.
Bravo.
But
bravo, my friend.
Thank you. Spoiler alert, it's not much, but I do plan on getting some more, once I have more money coming in. And when I do that, the plan is basically I'm just going to make small purchases with it. Things like, for instance, you can buy Steam gift cards with Bitcoin with Bitrefill. You can also buy Amazon gift cards. Using Persio, you can actually sell your Bitcoin. You can basically set a price of how much you want to pay for a particular item on Amazon. Like you basically choose, like, I want a 30% discount on this, and people will sell you their Amazon gift cards for less basically you get a discount by using Bitcoin, because people will sell you their gift cards at a discounted rate in order to get your Bitcoin.
And that's the beauty of it right there.
Oh yeah.
I mean, you know, with how many bankers got on TV talking about the evils of cryptocurrency, it's gotta be powerful.
Yep.
Oh yeah.
I don't remember exactly who it was, but I think it was very early when Bitcoin was first coming out. There was one of these, whether it was Bank of America or Wells Fargo or one of those guys on CNN explaining why why we've got to stop cryptocurrency and all, how it's going to crash the global economy. Well,
right now there's a big meeting coming up, like I forgot what the group is called, but it's basically the government group that regulates Wall Street, like the stock exchange.
FINRA?
Yeah, I think so. And they actually have a meeting coming up soon regarding cryptocurrencies as whether or not they are to be classified as a security.
Which can you do that?
So if they classify it as a security, it will mean a huge price drop for Bitcoin. But it sounds like the members of that particular meeting have no intention of doing that to Bitcoin, at least. They're planning on just kind of going after the smaller altcoins like Dogecoin, for instance, and other cryptos that were either made as jokes or don't really have much backing to them. Or not backing, what's the word for it? Basically, they aren't as legitimate as, say, like Bitcoin or Litecoin or some of these other.
They don't have as high of a trading volume. Trading volume, I think, is what you're looking for.
Yeah, and so, like, for instance, Dogecoin, like, it doesn't have a market cap, so that's not good ever. But it's interesting to me, like. It will shoot the price of it up significantly, like exponentially, like overnight. You will see a huge price spike. So if you guys are thinking about getting into cryptocurrencies, now is the time. Get it, buy right now while the price is still low, especially since a lot of corporations are coming out and showing a lot of interest in trading, doing international trade in crypto.
Hang on just a second. Whose phone is on vibrate? Because that's been happening several times.
Mine, sorry.
Okay.
It's happening every time Nate the Voluntarist comes on, too.
Okay. So, hang on, if you could just put your phone on silent entirely, that'd be great.
Yeah, sorry.
Okay.
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. Americop, if you want to, sorry, I interrupted. I'm pretty sure I interrupted you there to finish your thought.
Yeah. So, if cryptocurrencies see this, anyway, if they get this huge price spike, it'll be a little bit harder to get into crypto.
Well, especially when the global economic collapse comes, and it's coming. SO pointed out that global markets dropped $9 trillion yesterday. And if anyone actually takes a look at Market Insider, you'll see S&P is down, NASDAQ is down, Dow Jones is down. In fact, I think it was either 2 or 3 weeks ago now, Dow Jones took the hardest hit it had taken in a while.
Well, a big contributor to because we in just the past few weeks have seen a significant price increase in Bitcoin. I say significant loosely. Basically, it's gone up. It's been on the rise lately. And part of that is due to the fact that a lot of industry is looking into not necessarily cryptocurrency trading, but they're looking into the blockchain network technology. Mm-hmm. And because of that, naturally, there's going to be an increased interest in cryptocurrencies. So, you have websites now like BitChute, who, they run completely on that kind of technology. And because of that, you're going to, and other companies are getting interested in making more websites like that and other programs like that. Particularly, like I said, like corporate trading is really looking into that kind of technology.
Yeah. But finishing the thought I was saying is you want to get into it now, because when the dollar completely collapses, and it will, that's inevitable at this point, all these other currencies, Bitcoin, Ethereum, gold and silver, obviously, are going to rocket sky high, and you're going to have no dollars to trade for it because the dollar collapsed. So,
yeah, I would definitely. I only have Bitcoin for right now, but I have been looking into some Litecoin, and I've thought about maybe getting another wallet and go, because I just use Coinbase because it's easy. But I might change that because the fees are pretty high. Yeah.
What about for like for in the future, if say for example, if I want to go over to the store and buy food and whatnot, how would I feasibly use my Bitcoin instead of like money or my credit card or whatnot?
Well, there are already stores back east, like particularly in New Hampshire, that are there's actually a store right now that like only accepts cryptocurrencies.
Okay.
And basically, here's what's gonna happen. Like I said, when the economy finally collapses and when the dollar firmly collapses, pretty much what you're gonna see is the what they call hyperinflation. So obviously, inflation is when, as they're printing more money, prices are going up to account for the increased money supply. But when the dollar collapses, prices are going to rocket sky high. I mean, you're going to go into a store and find a loaf of bread for $1,000, $10,000, something like that. We've seen this happen in Weimar Germany post World War I. When that happens, businesses are going to start to realize, hey, the dollar is worthless. We need to start providing for trading in something that actually has value. And that will accelerate, in my view. All stores and businesses that are not currently accepting cryptocurrency will start accepting it pretty fast when they realize the dollar is worthless, as will the same with gold, silver, anything else. And because if you look at what happened in Weimar Germany post World War I, once the currency went into a hyperinflation and people realized it was worthless, they essentially just started buying. Nobody wanted to hang on to their cash a second longer than they had to. The moment they received cash, they bought something because they knew that thing would retain its value faster. Of course, before the age of Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies and whatnot, it essentially became a barter system where people were just trying to get stuff, which they could trade for other stuff, the cash essentially being a meaningless middle equivalent.
Isn't the only reason the US dollar has any value is because of our international oil or something like that?
That is the primary thing that's popping it up right now.
Yeah, the U.S., like technically speaking, the U.S.'s debt, because it's reached over 100% of our GDP, 105% now, technically speaking, we should have seen total and complete financial and economic collapse years ago. Like I'm not even kidding. The only country that has ever reached that level of debt compared to GDP, we are the only country that has not reached total and complete financial collapse after that has happened. And the only reason why we haven't done that yet is because other countries are too afraid of us to call us on our bullshit. Because they know that if they do, they lose their financial aid, they lose their military protection, because we provide the military, we provide a protection for several countries that own part of our debt. And if they were to cash in, well, guess what? No more U.S.
Exactly. And that's why I talked about in last week's episode of 2 Day with 2 Cents, for all the talk about this Saudi Arabian journalist who was murdered in the Saudi embassy there in Istanbul. I'm listening to all these different commentators talk about how, Trump is being stupid. This guy was clearly murdered. Well, I mean, what's going on? Well, what's going on is Trump is smart enough to know, it being in his position, and other people in government are smart enough to know, you can't piss the Saudis off, because the Saudis are ever since Henry Kissinger's deal with the King of Saudi Arabia, they are the main engine that keeps all the OPEC nations using the US dollar as the only currency with which you can trade oil. And if we lose that, we're finished. So yeah, the Saudis can pretty much murder whoever they want in front of the U.S., and they're going to get away with it.
Well, and here's the other thing. I mean, you don't even have to go as far back as Weimar Germany to see, like, the hyperinflation. Just look as far as Venezuela now. They're going through horrible hyperinflation. I mean, I know we've covered this several times, but they're going through this horrible, god-awful hyperinflation, and it's exactly like that. And that's what we're going to go through during that kind of an economic collapse. I mean, God.
Well, at this point, the global economic collapse isn't.
Hey guys.
Hey man, welcome back.
Everybody, can you hear me?
Oh yeah, you're actually quite loud.
And we're getting feedback echo. Also, I wanted to mention: did anyone here see the Rick and Morty season 3. It was like the season 3
Yes.
first episode. Do you remember how Rick toppled the galactic government? Wait, hello?
Hey, whoever just got on, if you're also on the actual YouTube page, be sure to mute the page because you'll get a delay.
Well, no, it was just, you know how they collapsed the galactic government by
setting the value of the galactic currency to 0.
Yeah, basically turning the currency to 0. You know, I really wish that it was that easy, honestly. I honestly wish it was that easy.
What the hell happened? I'm hearing 3 people talk. I can't understand anyone.
Yeah, I know. Someone
getting feedback.
Someone is. I'm hearing old conversation in the background, which means somebody is watching on the YouTube watch page and not muting.
I think it was Nate. I'm not sure though.
Okay, Nate says he's still trying to connect. One thing, actually, in U.S. history, a little known fact about the Civil War: the North, as a tactic against the South, actually printed a ton of counterfeit Confederate currency and essentially flooded it into the South in order to cause a hyperinflation.
Lovely.
Yeah, it was funny when what was it when Filthy Heretic had that debate with XBL's extra large Spartan number 9 or whatever his name was, whatever his obnoxiously long stupid ass username was. He said something along the lines of cryptocurrency will never work because you can't print more of it and stimulate the economy.
Yeah, that's exactly what we're trying to avoid.
It's like I was like, dude, you realize that's a bad thing if you can do that, right? Like, like that's the thing we're trying to avoid. Like,
that's what you're supposed to avoid.
Yeah, I was like, dude.
If Bitcoin had the ability to do that, then it actually would be a bubble.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Oh.
It was.
And what's funny is, like, most people who say those kind of things don't even realize that the banking elites have admitted this. Like, Alan Greenspan is on record saying the U.S. can never default on its debt because they'll always just print more money to cover the debt. And everyone hears that and like, oh, great, the U.S. can never default on its debt. Do you understand what that means?
Terrible thing.
It means the U.S. can make its own the U.S. can basically dishonestly. Basically, there are two things the U.S. can do about its debt. They can be honest and default, say we don't have the money to pay for you, or they can dishonestly default by printing a ton of money to pay the debt, which essentially makes the currency worthless. But either way, the results is the same.
Legalized counterfeiting.
Yeah, exactly.
It's the monopoly rule. It's basically the monopoly rule. It's when you run out of money in the bank, start writing on pieces of paper like 100, 500. It's God.
Mm-hmm.
It's like there's an episode of. Have you guys seen the show Raising Hope?
Yes.
There is an episode called Burt Bucks that explain. Like, I want to send it to every communist and neocon out there who thinks that the fact that you just can't print more money is a bad thing, and just send them that episode and be like, "This is how economics works, gentlemen."
No, send it to Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, please. Send that episode to her.
Yes,
oh my God.
Like the best part of that episode is at the end where he's like, "Well, a good thing the people running our country are smarter than us." And I was like, "Yes."
Hey, guys, just want to butt in for a second. We have 6 minutes till 8 o'clock.
That's true. I don't mind if this one goes a little bit over because this has been some good conversation. But yeah, we'll.
And I think it's actually kind of ironic because speaking of good old Ocamio, basically I've looked up her thing and it said that she graduated with like a bachelor's degree in economics or something like that.
Yes, and international relations.
Yeah, hun, if she ever listens to this, I think she needs to give the degree back because she either failed and they gave her a passing grade anyway, or her professors failed her, because I cannot imagine someone like her actually having a bachelor's degree or any degree like that in economics. I mean, really? Really, people?
Unless you're in a liberal arts college.
Yeah,
Well,
and
yeah.
the other thing, so yeah, economics and international relations. The other thing is when she was asked on public television about where she stood on the Israeli-Palestinian conflict, she wasn't even able to accurately describe what the nature of the conflict is.
Yeah.
Oh,
What's really funny to me is like because here's the thing: when you get a degree in economics from a college, chances are you're going to be dealing with what I would like to call theoretical economics. In other words,
Hey guys.
Yeah.
Yeah, what's up?
Yeah. What's up?
Nate, you there?
I keep talking.
Okay, so when you're dealing with colleges, you're dealing with basically what I call theoretical economics. In other words,
Oh, guys, can you hear me?
Yes,
yeah,
we can.
Hey guys.
Yeah, we can hear you.
You're actually pretty loud. If you could turn down your own volume.
Anyway, yeah. So theoretical economics. What I'm basically saying is, there's economics that the professors go, well, this should work. If we just print more money and give everybody a hot tub and free healthcare or whatever, it should make the economy work fine. Like that's basically in theory this should work. And then there's real economics, which says no, dumbass, that does not work.
Yeah, I've always said the economic fallacy for Keynesians and essentially any economists who aren't from the Austrian school is the idea. Everyone outside the Austrian school of economics has this idea that they're just so much more intelligent than everyone else that if they just were
Yo, what's up?
given their power and allowed to make the shots, the economy would be perfect. Yet when they are given that power and they do what they said was going to make it perfect, it always fails. The Austrians are the ones saying none of us are smart enough. Can you hear me? Yes, we can hear you.
We hear you.
Yep.
Awesome. Hey guys.
The Austrians are awesome. The Austrians are the ones saying none of us are smart enough. The only thing you can do is let people make their own decisions voluntarily, and it will work out to the most efficient situation for everyone.
Well, it's like economists for years have been trying to break down what makes something valuable. Where does value derive from? And you had the communists come forth with it comes from the labor. Then you had
you've got the cost theory of value first, and the labor theory of value is based on a horribly reduced version of that.
Yeah. The cost theory, the labor theory of value.
Even the economists who put forward the cost theory of value are going, we don't have all the variables in place here. This is not a complete theory. It will not work. This is just something that we're trying to figure out, and this is one part of it. And then Marx took out every other variable except labor and just goes, this is it. This is all we need. Anything else is wrong. And that's why Marx was an idiot.
Yeah. I was going to say the labor theory of value is the cost theory of value for stupid people.
No.
I like that.
She has every right if somebody that she doesn't want to pick up.
Okay, quick here. I see Harry Alexander says, I learned from talking with presuppositionalist Christian apologists. Some people just won't change their mind. I feel your pain. I just want to ask quick, are you by chance talking about Psi 10 Bruggenkate?
Wait, what was that? I didn't hear it.
Okay, sorry. This is off topic. I was waiting for Harry Alexander. Harry Alexander said in the chat, I learned from talking with presuppositionalist Christian apologists, some people just won't change their mind. And I said, are you by chance talking about Psi 10 Bruggenkate? Because if so, I absolutely feel your pain. Sorry, but actually, this is something worth talking about. So, presuppositionalism is a particular method of apologetics that's used by some Christians. Now, I am myself a Christian, so I object from within when I say this is stupid. But essentially, a presuppositionalist is someone who says my viewpoint is essentially, and I know that they would use a bit more sophisticated language, but this is the gist of it. My viewpoint is true. Since my viewpoint is true, your viewpoint must be false, and any evidence against my viewpoint must be misinterpreted because my viewpoint is true. And then they essentially just smack you over the head with that over and over again.
Yeah, I've gotten that a lot in debating with Christians and Muslims online. So and in person too. So I mean, I know what you're going through. I know what you're going through on that.
Yeah, there's one guy in particular named Cy Ten Brugenket, who is one of the biggest proponents of this style of apologetics at the moment. And I always say, hearkening back to Rush Limbaugh, if somebody wants to make a fool of themselves on the radio, get out of the way, because
yeah.
Because that's exactly, but you know, it's exactly but that kind of presuppositionalism is exactly how socialists argue. Socialism is by definition true. Therefore, any socialist country that failed wasn't really socialist. And whatever evidence you have against my view, it's because of capitalism.
I mean, they like to spread the lie that I'm sorry. Did everybody hear me?
Yes, we can hear you. Go ahead.
Okay, cool. I just wanted to say that they continue to say that, you know, Scandinavian countries like Denmark or Sweden, you know, they are examples of socialist successes. But if you look at the economic index of freedom, is that what it's called?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, Denmark and Sweden are more free than the United States.
Yeah, exactly.
And they're actually,
I mean, I think they. Well, I was just going to say they seem to think that it's a socialist. They're socialist countries because I know Denmark has a welfare state. Sweden does it have a welfare state?
They do. Yep. All three of them, or I guess all four of them, have very generous welfare states. They essentially have very free markets, free trade, very few business regulations, no minimum wage. They have very free markets combined with a very generous welfare state. And the only reason their system has lasted as long as it has is because of the wealth that's created by the free market. But what's worth noting, and actually I did a stream with Mag was there and the Red Pill Dragon, and I think a few others. We talked about this. In Denmark especially, the number of people who are living entirely off government benefits has been steadily rising, while the population has been staying constant. So mathematically speaking, it's on a collision course with itself, and it will collapse.
Right.
Within the next decade.
Well, you know, I'm just going to say this right now. Who else wants to take bets on when the U.S. economy is going to collapse? I mean, we're already at like 105% debt, right?
I can hear you, dude.
I give it 10 years at max.
Well, I mean, just percentage-wise. I'm giving it until 112% before it finally goes.
Well, I didn't hear that. I'm sorry.
We're talking about when the U.S. economy is going to finally collapse.
Oh, I don't think it's going to be very long, to be honest.
Yeah,
and
my bet has and always will. I'm not sure it's going to go down like this. I am pretty sure that the central bankers are trying to make it happen right before the 2020 election so that they can try and blame it on Trump.
Oh, of course. Another thing I want to point out is that I think that the empire is going to fall just like the British Empire fell. There's no doubt about it in my mind that that's what's going to happen eventually.
Yeah, except this collapse is going to be unlike anything we've seen in history.
Oh, yeah.
At no other time in history were all the world's economies so integrally connected to one another.
Well, the equivalent would be the collapse of Rome. I mean, how well did that go?
Oh, yeah.
But I mean, I get that. It's going to be like the collapse of Rome, like times 10. I mean, it's going to hit hard.
Yeah.
Isn't there another world currency that's going on right now so the world can kind of transfer to that if they don't want to go to crypto?
Well, the currency that's supposedly rising to challenge the dollar's dominance is the Chinese yuan, which is in fact gold backed.
Mm.
And they've started, and in Shanghai, there's actually a market for trading oil in yuan. So,
what about Hong Kong?
I don't believe it's in Hong Kong yet. Hong Kong is functionally still treated as an independent nation, although it is technically owned by China. It remains the freest economy in the world.
I mean, last night, I watched Stossel when he did a show about Hillary Clinton, and he had economist Dan Mitchell from the Cato Institute, and he said that he had been to to Hong Kong, and he said that only 3% of the population were getting government benefits. Excuse me.
It is currently the freest economy in the world.
Yeah.
It remains so, even though it's technically owned by pseudo-communist China, because China was going to apply to them all of the economic regulations that already exist in China, and something like almost every single business threatened to leave if they did so. So they essentially made Hong Kong like a special economic area that plays by free market rules.
I guess you would the best, you would probably call it a city state. Like it's an independent
it effectively
nation.
operates by it's.
Go ahead.
I think the most accurate term would be a protectorate.
Yeah,
sort of. Yes.
Have you guys heard of the Asian Capitalists?
Oh yes, the YouTube channel. Yeah, I'm familiar with them.
Yeah. They you could check out their videos where they're talking about Hong Kong, what their society is like.
You know, it would actually kind of surprise me if in the next 10 years Hong Kong wasn't actually running China. I mean, they're economically alone, they could probably outbid China in anything. So I mean, my bet is it's a possibility that they'll probably be running the whole country within a few years.
Wouldn't surprise me.
All right. Well, we have gone over our hour, which I said I'm fine with, but I do always like to end on a light note. So if anybody has anything totally non-economics, current events related that they'd like to talk about for a few minutes, please.
Fun.
What?
Economics can be fun, children.
Oh, so certainly. I'm not saying it's not fun, but it is perhaps deep and heavy.
Can I mention? Can I mention something totally off topic?
Go right ahead.
Sure.
I just did a collab with Hoodie Demon recently, and he's lately been working a lot, so he hasn't been able to get the video out. And plus, my computer is broken right now, so it's getting repaired, so I haven't been able to do videos. So I apologize to everybody for the inconvenience, and I'll be back soon before you know it.
All right, no problem. Looking forward to it. I haven't seen Hoodie hasn't put out a lot of stuff recently, so that should be good.
Yeah.
This for a while as well. Sorry.
Okay.
Yeah, and of course I got a Patreon, so consider donating.
Sweet.
All right.
Well, I know a way to end this on a happy note.
Oh,
This
please.
is cliche. Someone want to sing happy birthday to America?
Not much of a singer.
I feel like I'm at a Chili's now.
Sorry, I had to.
Way to make it happy.
My dehumidifier just turned on. I had to run from my computer and turn that off. Otherwise, it would have been quite annoying.
Well, I guess never mind.
I don't.
Sorry, I got stage fright. I'm sorry.
I don't turn 20 until Tuesday anyway.
I'm already 24, so.
Yeah, I'm not looking forward to my 20s.
Wait a minute. I'm like 35. Am I like the oldest person here?
Probably.
Probably.
Who's the youngest here?
Me. I'm 17, 18 in November 21st.
Oh. Oh, okay. Well, happy birthday.
Happy birthday, AmeriCap.
Thank you.
Happy birthday, bro.
Thank you, my dude. The 21st one, the 21st birthday is the fun one.
Oh yeah.
And once the say it is done away with, that'll lose its significance. But maybe.
True.
Maybe we may. It may go. Never know about that.
Yes. All right. Well, I guess on that note, as always, a lot of good conversation, a lot of technical difficulties, but all a lot of fun. So, nope, no problem.
Yeah, that one screenshot that you guys probably saw that you muted, that was all me. That was all me. So I take full responsibility.
All right.
So
well, I will give everybody an opportunity to give themselves a shout out quick. As always, we'll go alphabetically. So, AmeriCap.
I'm AmeriCap. I run a YouTube channel. You can catch me on my YouTube channel. I'm probably not going to make a video for a while, but hopefully I will soon. I a lot of stuff has just popped up in my life lately, and so I was supposed to do a collab with Esso, but that has been kind of postponed until I can get my life together. But you should see me back soon.
All right.
Laziness.
Yep.
Meg.
Me? Oh, hi. I'm Meg with Common Sense, MHE. I may make different libertarian stuff. I won't be able to make videos for a while, but there are still some really good videos in there that you should check out. And bye.
Nate.
I'm Nate the Voluntarist. I was brought into libertarianism through Ron and Rand Paul, and anarcho-capitalism through Mr. Dapperton and Eric July. You can follow me on YouTube and Twitter. I'll be having a video out with Hoodie Demon with his old theme. You know, remember that like a communist, that song. Remember that,
yes.
guys? Yeah, we're gonna
Barely.
use that.
He's been gone so long I can hardly remember, but in the deep recesses of my mind, yes.
Yeah, I requested that we use that theme because I miss it. So, anyways, I'll be back soon. I'm on Twitter if you guys want to talk to me, and of course, I'll be on Discord as well. I'll be back with some new videos whenever I can, whenever I get my computer back. And thank you so much for bringing me on for my very first live stream.
All right. Well, thank you for supporting me on Patreon.
Absolutely.
Night shift.
Oh, wait. Pipsqueak's up next, I think. Oh, is he still here?
Yeah, I'm still here. You go.
You sure? Okay. Night Shift 10,000. I do not make content as of yet. I'm planning on probably starting that, but no, I'm just here. I've been here on YouTube since forever, and I'm planning on being here a lot longer unless the internet purge goes down. But I don't make content, but I do make collabs, and
well, he does.
Yeah,
he does now because he's in the collab we did with on Ariana Grande, and we've got another coming out.
Yeah, we got another one coming up. Looking forward to that. But yep, just a lonely old YouTuber named Night Shift 10,000. Over and out.
All right, Pipsqueak.
Hey, I'm Pipsqueak. You can follow me at @Captain_Pipsqueak on Twitter. I occasionally share dank memes and get into arguments with random communists.
He's done some of the best Twitter trolling I've ever seen.
Wow.
That is quite the compliment.
Fine work, my lad.
All right.
Well, good for you, man.
Yeah. Well, everybody, thanks for watching. Just some quick announcements for my channel. Monday at 7 p.m. Eastern, 4 p.m. Pacific, I'm going to be having Dr. Bo Bennett of the site logicallyfallacious.com for a live stream. For those of you who don't know who he is, he has written a book called Logically Fallacious, and he has a website called logicallyfallacious.com in which he outlines more than 300 logical fallacies and describes them in very easy to understand detail. So I'm definitely looking forward to that. Be sure to check that out. I've been publishing articles on. I've kind of branched out when I was off YouTube for a little bit due to having no internet. I branched out and started blogging, and I've decided to kind of make that part of what I do. So I've had articles coming out every Monday on my2centsvideos.com, in addition to my theme video every Thursday, and then the 2 Day with 2 Cents news segment every Saturday. And if any of you would like to get in on these conversations, just takes $1 a month on Patreon. Also, I will be every month. I am releasing a patrons exclusive video, and the one for this month should be out very shortly. So if you want to be able to see that, again, only takes $1 a month. So thanks everybody for watching. Thank you to all my patrons for your support. I love you guys so much for it. And as always, that is my 2 cents. So take it for what it's worth.